Welcome to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert, and I'm here to tell you that imposter syndrome isn't a life sentence. It's just a dysfunctional way of thinking. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. Time to kick your inner imposter to the curb and create life-changing results for you and your clients. Let's get started. Back, everybody. It has been a hot minute since I have podcasted, and you may not realize that because I come out with new episodes every Wednesday, but for myself, I was finishing up my master's in NLP at the end of January, so I actually recorded all of my podcasts for February, like near the beginning of the month in January, and now it's midway through February, and I am recording my podcast for March, and a lot has been going on behind the scenes. Your coach Jill has been exhausted mentally and emotionally. I hired a new coach. I got told by our landlords that we're going to have to leave the premises in 60 days because the market is just crazy right now with housing because of COVID and everything, and our landlords are selling our house, which is pretty much an asshole move on their part, but not much we can do about it. So now we have to move out. And I've really had to affirm to myself that everything is happening for a reason and everything will be okay. And I know that everything will be okay, but there's a lot of stress, and I love to keep it real with you guys on this podcast. I also think I do keep it real a lot on my Instagram stories, but just something about the podcast just makes me very vulnerable, and it hasn't been an easy time. It hasn't been an easy season in my personal life, especially when I'm currently housing my sister, Larissa. She's living with us, and now she's going to be homeless for a second time because, as everybody knows, my family's home burnt down on October 31st of 2020. So it's been like a rough year for the Perricks. It's been like a rough year. Our dog died in the beginning of January of last year, and then our house burnt down and our cat passed away, and now my sister's getting kicked out of another place. It's a whole thing. But anyways, we will be okay. And something that I always think too is like how much I love my business for like allowing me to have a creative outlet, but also allowing me to know that I'm creating something that is so much bigger than me, that I don't have to worry about having a full-time job forever and working around these things and working this personal life shit around my full-time job, because it's not going to be forever. And just wanted to come at you guys with some like real talk and some stuff that I am currently dealing with, but it's all going to be okay. I did hire a new coach, and that just like really threw me off my rocker. And like I say that in terms of being like I invested a higher amount, the highest amount that I've ever invested in a coach. So she was $18,000 US and that converts to like $23,000 or $24,000. And I want to be transparent about this because it was really scary, and every time I take another leap towards my next level, it is terrifying and it never feels good. I'm always like, fuck, am I making the right choice? I had this housing thing that I kind of knew was already happening, but like wasn't sure if it was going to be legit or not, and I invested in her anyways. And every time I do it, I'm betting on myself, and it would be a shame if I didn't bet on myself when I am the only person who I can bet on. Like, I am the only thing in my life that I can bet on. And same with like education and continuing education and certification and anything else that you're doing to grow your own mind and grow your own personal development. And that's why I'm obsessed with the mindset work and doing this work on yourself, because even if you think, well, if I'm not seeing a monetary return, like, is it really worth it? First of all, my clients do get amazing returns monetarily, but they just get more like rootedness and safety and grounding and unlearning old patterns and shifting out of old paradigms that really allow them to achieve more than they ever thought that they could. And I have this quote that was said by my dear friend Vienny. She said this in our master's for NLP, and she heard it from her coach. And it's never about achieving the goal. It's about the person you're becoming in the process of achieving the goal. So basically saying that, yes, we want to achieve our goals. We have desires. We want to put them out there. We want to work towards them. But you are always becoming the next level version of yourself, no matter what goal you are setting. So continuing to set goals, and even if you don't reach them every time. Continue to set them because you are becoming a new person each time you set a goal that is kind of out of your current realm of reality. And that is how you continue to hit the next level, continue to make more money, be more you, and infuse more of you into your business. And that is setting goals, sticking to it, and knowing that your success is inevitable. So that leads me to talk about my client Chelsea for a hot minute. Chelsea is one of my From Imposter to Empowered group coaching clients. She literally came in at the very last second, swooped in and was like, hey, I saw your Instagram live. I saw that you were launching last week, but it closed, but I really want in. Can I get in? I was like, hell yes, let's do this. And she came in and then she actually turned into a one-to-one client. And Chelsea created, guys, she went into this deep dark hole. At the end of 2020, she had a wait list and a launch and she completely ghosted it all. She had fear and imposter syndrome and all these things were coming up for her. We did a little bit of work, like just a little bit of identity work, peeling back the layers as to why she was so afraid and the fear that she was experiencing and everything else that was stopping her from really showing up and like running her fucking business. We did a little bit of work on that and her business has exploded. She signed 5 clients in her group coaching program and then she signed 2 high ticket one-to-one coaching clients and secured $12,000 in sales literally the second week that we started working together one-on-one. So we literally had one call and she secured $12,000 the next week. It was fucking unbelievable. We were like screaming at each other over Voxer. And it's not even about the money that was exciting for me. It was the fact that she had created this amazing success in such a short amount of time after she was convinced it was going to take her so long to get out of the deep dark hole that she was in. And she was telling all these stories around the past things that she's done and the past clients that she's coached and what if I'm not capable? And her brain was just trying to pull her back from really achieving what she was meant to achieve. And when we did the work, amazing things happened for her. So I'm so proud of you, Chelsea. And I'm going to be shouting out each one of my clients whenever I start a podcast episode because they are truly amazing. And I think that we should celebrate. I mean, I love celebrating monetary wins. Of course I do. But I also want to say that Chelsea feels so much better. She feels so much more grounded. She feels safe and secure in her body. Mind you, we've only been working together one-on-one for like a couple of weeks, but she was in the From Imposter to Empowered program, which she fucking killed it in there. And she just has that sense of security in herself and that inner trust that we are continuing to cultivate. And that is what you need as an entrepreneur. You need to have the resilience to keep going. You need to have the resilience to get up because you are with you every day. And sometimes when you are running an online business and this is the only thing you do, I have my full-time job, but if you are just running your business, you may get up each day and be like, fuck, I should be doing something. Oh, like I'm having an off day, whatever. And when you are able to ground yourself, trust yourself, know that you will be successful no matter what, and that you can create your life, amazing things happen because you stay consistent, you stay the course, you know that it doesn't mean anything if you have an off day or a negative emotion or whatever. And yeah, I'm just so proud of Chelsea. And I love you, Chelsea, and I am so proud of all of my clients, but I just decided to shout out Chelsea today. Okay, so let's get into the episode. I always say they're going to be short, and they never are. I need to stop saying that. So today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that you're probably doing that you don't even realize you're doing, and that is focusing on what not to do instead of focusing on what to do. So something that we see a lot of the time in the online space is people saying, don't do this. So they'll be like, don't do this when you are engaging in the DMs. You shouldn't do this if you want to be successful. Avoid this tactic if you're trying to be a good coach. Whatever it is. And I know that these are technically like captivating titles or whatever, but the thing is when you are constantly saying that, your brain, your subconscious mind cannot process negatives. So if you're saying, don't do this DM strategy, and then somebody is going into an entire thing about why you shouldn't do this DM strategy, you are going to have somebody looking at it and be focusing on all the things that they shouldn't be doing. And that does not inspire motivation. That actually inspires more fear or shame. So if you are somebody who is new going into the DMs, you may have in your brain, oh, but Lily from this coaching program was like, don't do this in the DMs, and now I'm so afraid that that's how I'm coming off. So when you were saying don't do this, while I get it's a way to captivate people's attention, you're directing their attention towards that very thing that you don't want them to do. And because the subconscious mind can't process negatives, they're still going to be thinking about that thing. It's like if I were to say to you right now, don't think of a yellow car. Well, your brain processes stuff in pictures, so it probably was like, oh shit, now I'm thinking of a yellow car, right? Like you probably did think of a yellow car. And again, the brain can't process negative. So if you say stuff like can't, don't, avoid, all those things, it's going to be like, okay, but you're saying don't think of a yellow car, and now all I can think of is a yellow car, because again, the subconscious can't process negatives. So why is this important? Because when you are working towards your goals, when you are working on your business, when you're doing the things you need to do to be a badass bitch and run your business in that way, there is no motivation or positive emotion associated to what you shouldn't be doing. There, again, is just fear or shame. Like, don't do this DM strategy. Don't do this routine in the morning. Don't do this. Don't do that. Instead, it's like, okay, well, what exactly should I do? And then you have the should that comes in terms of, is this good enough? So what I would say to that, if I were to like take it into a more personal account, is when it came to sales calls, I would consume a lot of things where people would be like, don't do this on a sales call. You really want to avoid this on a sales call. But the actual messaging around what a good sales call would look like or what it sounds like wasn't as robust as the what not to do's. And then I was just so worried that I was doing sales calls the wrong way that it would throw me off completely. And the same thing goes for your business. So if you're first starting out, or if you're in the first like year or two, you may be consuming a lot of, this is not the way to run your online business. This is not the strategy you should consume. And again, you may be throwing shit at the wall thinking, is what I'm doing even right? Is this good enough? Am I doing it wrong? And it's not going to inspire you. It's not going to motivate you. And that is why in NLP and in all that stuff, we always talk about focusing on what you do want. Because the majority of the time when somebody comes to me and I say something like, so what's your ideal circumstance in the next 3 months or the next 4 months? They're always talking about, well, I don't want to be at my full-time job anymore, and I don't want to be tired and stressed anymore. And that is called away motivation. And that is when you are trying to avoid pain. And as humans, we are naturally wired to avoid pain, to want to avoid pain. So a lot of our actions and a lot of our motivations are to avoid pain, but that's not sustainable. And what is sustainable is being more toward motivated. So when somebody asks you, where do you want to be in like 5 years, instead of saying, well, I don't want to be at my full-time job and I don't want to be doing this, I don't want to be one of those suburban women who sleep with the gardener. I don't know. I just instantly thought of fucking Desperate Housewives. That was so random. But great show though. Really good. So instead, what do you want to create? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to happen? And notice how your life changes when you focus on what you do want. Because when you focus on what you do want, and your brain is trained to look for the things that you do want, then your brain is trained to look for the things that you want. It's trained to keep an eye out for the things that you're talking about and working towards. But if you're constantly saying to yourself, like, oh, in 5 years, I don't want to be at my full-time job. It is just so exhausting, so stressful, and I don't want to be stressed out all the time. What are you giving your energy to? The full-time job, the stress, the negativity that's associated to it, that you won't even know what the good life looks like even when it hits you in the face, because you haven't really clearly identified, well, I would love to work my business only 2 hours a day. I would love to get up in the morning and have a nice Nespresso. I just got my Nespresso machine and oh my God, it's magical. I will probably still go to Starbucks every once in a while though, for sure. So I get up, I make my Nespresso, I journal in my journal. I feel so at ease and calm, and there's payments rolling in. That's the type of shit we like, because that's the type of shit that you should focus on, because then your brain starts working towards it. It becomes something that is coming into your awareness. And we all know about the conscious critical faculty, which is that filter that filters out anything that you don't really think is like legitimate. So when your subconscious mind is focusing on those things, then you have that reticular activating system, which is trained to notice the things that you are putting top of mind. And that's why we have the morning routines, and that's why I recommend to all my clients to have some type of routine where you're affirming your goals and you do your gratitudes, because whatever you put top of mind, your reticular activating system is paying attention to, and it is helping you reinforce those things in your everyday life and helping you look for the positive, look for the good, raising your vibration, and then making you a vibrational match for what you want in life. Now, doesn't that sound better than focusing on all the things you don't want to happen, or that you don't want to achieve, or that you are trying to avoid, like your negative emotion, and never really knowing what it is you actually want? Because I was somebody who always wanted to avoid pain. I did everything just to avoid pain. I was so away motivated. But if you were to ask me, well, what do you want your life to look like, and what things do you actually want? I couldn't give you an answer. I knew exactly what I didn't want, which was very away motivated of me, but I couldn't tell you what I did want. And when I started focusing on what I did want and being more towards motivated, which is to seek pleasure, I actually found more happiness, not just in my personal life, but also in my business as well, because I was doing it from a place of positive emotion and motivation. We already know that fear and shame don't motivate you. They make it worse. In the moment, maybe it does. So maybe your grandmother said something to you like, oh, you really look like you put on a few pounds, and that inspired you to like go to the gym the next week. But then you started to be like, that comment was really shitty. I feel bad about myself. And then you recoil into shame and you don't feel good about yourself, and nothing good ever comes from fear or shame. And I think we're just so conditioned as a society that like you need to be disciplined, but like it can be positive discipline because you're excited about this life you're creating. You're excited about this business that you're creating. That's where I come from whenever I'm creating content. Listen, I am a really good writer, and writing Instagram posts can still be hard for me because I think about it and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to write this Instagram post and blah, 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 whatever. But when I reaffirm to myself, you are writing this post because somebody's going to see it and they're going to love your message. They're going to follow you. They're going to want to work with you. And then you're going to make thousands of dollars and you're going to be able to run the business that you really want to run. That sounds a lot more fucking fun than like, oh, you're not going to get any clients if you don't write this post. And again, we want to inspire positive emotion and positive motivational strategies because nobody ever grew from being shamed or fear-mongered. I know that you will probably say, well, as somebody who deals with imposter syndrome, Jill, I think I'm just more disciplined because I'm afraid somebody is going to figure me out. But honey, we've been over this. That just perpetuates a longer cycle of shame, and it is not conducive for you in the long run, because when you act out of fear, you wreak havoc on your mind and on your body. You become emotionally exhausted because you're so afraid somebody's going to find you out. You never feel good and rooted and worthy and safe in your body. You feel uncomfortable and unsafe and feel like you need to do more, and you cross your boundaries. So basically, assess why you do the things that you do. If you are like, okay, how do I figure out if I'm more towards or away motivated? Just assess why you do all the things you do. Look at your goals. Is it hard for you to think of where you are in 10 years? Because you think, well, I don't want this, or well, this is where I'm at right now. I can't possibly see myself achieving this. And it could be because you are away motivated. You're just trying to avoid pain. You're trying to avoid negative emotions. You're trying to avoid shitty things. So you create these goals or these things that you think you need to do just so you can avoid pain in your life. But what if we instead flipped it on its head? What if we said instead that you were working towards seeking pleasure, that you were working towards achieving something because it would make you feel good, it would motivate you, it would inspire you. And that is the basis of your goal setting, and that is the basis of you achieving everything you want in your business, because if you're more towards motivated, you are more likely to stick to the thing. You are more likely to create better serving habits that you can sustain. And that literally rolls into your business and having sustainable habits and doing the things because you want to. Because if you don't really want to, it's going to be hard to show up and stay consistent. And you have to really want to. So you have to have your eye on the prize. It has to be to seek pleasure instead of to just avoid the pain of life. So let me know what you guys think. Screenshot this episode. Let me know. And I am so excited because the week that you were listening to this, the first week of March, which is crazy, it's my birthday month, just so everyone knows. But this is also the first week of the next round of the From Imposter to Empowered program. So the second round kicked off this week. I'm so excited. And the From Imposter to Empowered program is my 12-week group program, and it is the only way that you can work with me other than one-to-one coaching and single sessions. So you can either work with me in a high transformational container in one-to-one coaching, get your butt on the wait list for the From Imposter to Empowered program the next round, which is going to start, I think, in around July. And then you can also opt to do a single session with me. And these are my only 3 offers for the rest of 2021. So if you are ready to change your life, start to become more toward motivated, working towards everything that you want to achieve in your business, and that goes hand in hand with deep personal development and unlearning all of those stories and beliefs that tell you that you're not good enough and that you can't have everything that you're meant to have. If you're ready for doing the work and experiencing massive abundance, then you're going to want to go to the link in my show notes and hit that work with me link, and you can pick your poison. Group program, get on the wait list, or one-to-one coaching, get on the wait list for that, or you can do a single session with me. So I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Check out the show notes to get started on your free 3-day challenge to overcome your inner imposter. Once you're done listening today, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at YourCoachJill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.